The AK-47, a terrorist team favorite and one of the most adored guns in the game. With that adoration comes an absolute fear for some, as flashbacks of getting one-tapped across map from that insane guy that must have been cheating fly through their head.
That pose, oh my god.
It is without a doubt a weapon that many have come to love and respect in the Counter-Strike franchise. My name is Cruxel, and you're watching Valve Guides. This video was made possible by CSGO Empire. It's one of the most fun and safe places to gamble, and you can deposit your skins and place bets on which of the 3 coins you think will win. Win some money and withdraw from a selection of thousands of awesome skins. Also, if you use the code GUIDES, you can get 50 cents for free to start playing. The AK-47, also known as the Avtomat Kalashnikova, is an absolute powerhouse of a weapon. With the raw damage output it is able to give out comes some big side effects, however. The recoil on this gun is huge, leading many to shoot it in small bursts instead of abandoning any hope of accuracy and fully spraying it. The other negative factor for the AK is its loud firing noise. It is absolutely roaring and can be heard across the map just as easily as the AWP in many situations. So if you don't hit that first shot towards the enemy, assuming they have headphones on, they will be able to pinpoint your general location right away. The gun itself is a classic design, showcased in just about every first-person shooter game released in some form or another. The timeless look of the metal and wood accents is very aesthetically pleasing and looks great when held in the player's hand. For CSGO, the AK also happens to be one of the more popular weapons to make skins for, as it has quite a few covert skins in the game and they all look incredible. First things first is a technical overview of this weapon. The AK fires a 7.62 caliber round in Counter-Strike games, just like its real-life counterpart. The magazine capacity matches that of the original CT rifle, the M4A4, with 30 rounds in a clip. This is more than enough to decimate an entire team if held in the right hands, as even with head armor, the high damage leads to a one-shot headshot at pretty much any range found in normal matchmaking maps, unless the player is shot through a surface. The rate of fire comes in at 600 rounds per minute, which puts it in about the middle of the playing field when compared to other firing rates of the weapons found in the game. It also has a muzzle velocity of about 2,329 feet per second, which when combined with the caliber of the rounds being shot causes the insane damage output that the AK has been blessed with. The next section we are going to go over is the history of the AK in previous and current installments of the Counter-Strike franchise. The AK costs $2,700 in CSGO, making it a pretty affordable full buy for anyone on the terrorist side. It is $400 less than the CT counterpart, and that's mainly because of the fact that counter-terrorists in general tend to get more cash rewarded to them for different actions in-game. With that being said, the price was even cheaper in previous iterations of the franchise, costing a mere $2,500. That $200 increase might not seem like a lot, but it was definitely a strange thing to adapt to when CSGO originally came out. That's a whole flashbang you're forsaking for that new price. The kill reward comes in at $300, which is the standard for many weapons in the game. This is a pretty average return on investment for a weapon in CS, so that's why it's never too worrisome if your whole team is equipped with them at the start of a round. Like I stated previously, in capable hands it can destroy an entire enemy team with helmets for less than 3,000, so it is nothing like the AWP in that regard. You never have to worry about having 5 teammates all purchasing the gun and whiffing their shots. Well, maybe in silver, but that's a whole nother story. As per usual, the kill reward is cut in half for casual, but who really plays that game mode unironically anyways, right? The recoil pattern is probably the most studied and practiced pattern in the game, and is about tied with the M4A4 in that regard. It follows a shape resembling that of an inverse capital T, and is honestly one of the more difficult sprays to master. This is why you see so many players opting into tap shooting as opposed to spraying, in fear of whiffing a whole clip at someone more than medium distance away. It has pretty good penetration power through surfaces compared to other rifles as well, rivaled by only that of the AWP and Scout, which makes sense because they're both snipers. Some new players might not realize this, but the AK was an absolute wall-banging machine in older titles. The map design has changed in this newest game, causing for less wall-bang spammable spots, but in classic maps, it felt like you could wall-bang almost anywhere. As well as tap shooting, having good movement is insanely important in order to master the firing power of the AK. Players often call hacks when someone rounds a corner and dinks them, but with good counter-strafe abilities, it really isn't that hard. A good counter-strafe, for those who don't know, is tapping the opposite walking key immediately before firing to get your accuracy down pat. The AK is pretty accurate right away, so because of latency, it could look to the enemy like you were still running while shooting, but for you came to a complete stop. Tagging in CSGO was also changed and is now dependent on the weapon you are holding. In an attempt to balance out the rifle, Valve had decided to make the tagging when holding an AK incredibly sluggish. This means when you begin to get shot while holding the AK, your player slows down to an incredibly slow pace. It's not quite as bad as the AWP, but pretty close. This means if you are not near cover and you can't hit your initial shot, you're more than likely toast, even if the enemy has a PP Bison. Aim practice, as expected, is crucial when mastering this weapon, and it'll save your butt more than once. Finally, we will go over what has changed since past iterations of Counter-Strike. The AK has honestly stayed pretty true to itself throughout the entirety of this Counter-Strike franchise. An alternative name used in previous games was a CV-47, and that was purely to avoid copyright issues with the actual gun manufacturers of the real world. As well as the aforementioned price increase in Global Offensive, the other major change between games was the movement speed. In CS Source and before, the movement speed was set to 221 units per second, but that was slightly decreased in CSGO to a value of 215 units per second. This change went pretty unnoticed, as only the hardcore players of the franchise that were around since the old days might have noticed, but it was nothing too crazy. One thing has remained true throughout all of the Counter-Strike games, and that is the usage of the AK. A gun with that firing power needs to be respected, and to use it to its full capabilities, you have to have great movement, incredible aim, and patient shooting. Well, that about wraps up today's video. If you learned anything about the AK from this, make sure you'd leave us a like. Thanks so much for sticking around to the very end, guys. Is the AK your favorite gun in game? Let us know down in the comments below. Also, once again, my name is Cruxel, and it has been an absolute pleasure. I will see you next time. This video was made possible by CSGO Empire. It's one of the most fun and safe places to gamble, and you can deposit your skins and place bets on which of the 3 coins you think will win. Win some money and withdraw from a selection of thousands of awesome skins. Also, if you use the code GUIDES, you can get 50 cents for free to start playing.